quick thank you to our sponsors for making this podcast possible. They keep this show free to listen to. Hey there, if you need a little help getting your kids the daily vitamins they need, I've got something to share that will help you as we all head back to school, and it fits easily into your morning routine. Between packing lunches, ensuring everyone's homework, and then navigating the morning hustle, getting our kids to take their vitamins can be a challenge. Well, let me introduce you to my new morning lifesaver, Little Critters Gummy Vitamins. Even my teenage daughters love them. Most kids think they're having a special treat, but I know they get the essential nutrients their growing bodies need. It's peace of mind for me and total yum for them, even if they don't admit it. Did you know Little Critters is the pediatrician recommended kids multivitamin gummy brand? It's true. And it's the perfect stress-free way to kick off the day. So why not make your mornings a little smoother? Shop Little Critters Gummy Vitamins now and start your school year off with a smile. Shop now at the link in the show notes. Thanks for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm Michelle, and I'm so glad you're here. And if some of you don't know, I'm from Southern Oregon, and I am recording this in Southern Oregon. And I have this beautiful background. So you can check out my background, and you can check out the video of this podcast on YouTube. So if you just search Peace and Parenting, you can find it that way. I will also put it in the show notes that we have a YouTube channel. It's kind of new, but we do put clips of the podcast on there, both with my guests and my solo ones. So if you want to check them out, you can check them out. The video on this one isn't as good because I'm on my laptop, but I think it's kind of pretty and worth checking out. This is my hometown and the childhood house I grew up in. And it's kind of fun just doing my podcast from here. So anyways, check that out. I'm so glad you're here. I want to talk about parenting experts and parenting thought leaders and just everybody in the parenting world that's like an authority, I guess you would say, or people that are out there, trying to help other people. And I think there's this idea that we don't ever do it wrong, that we somehow are perfect parents maybe, or that we don't mess up. And I want to reiterate that I will likely always mess up. I will likely always resort to yelling. I certainly yell a fraction of the amount that I used to. Maybe a couple of times a year I lose it. But, I think because of the way in which I was parented and all of my old triggers and everything that I grew up with, like I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully get rid of it. And maybe I just need to do more work, which I'm constantly doing. I know there are other people who have said, they've totally eradicated yelling and never resort to it. I am not that good of a person, I guess, or I'm not that good of a parent, I suppose, or I'm just not that evolved yet. And I want to put that out there that I don't believe I'm a better parent than anyone. I don't believe that I'll never mess up. And I don't believe that, that it makes that parenting becomes any easier as you learn all this stuff. Certainly you learn it and hopefully you remedy some of the things that are hard for you. And, you grow and you change. But it doesn't necessarily mean parenting is easy, because I still find it very, very challenging. And I still, in some moments, am completely lost and don't know what to say and don't know what to do and often pick and choose the wrong thing. And I learn from those mistakes and I move forward, but I'm still constantly making them. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be honest. I think that is part of growing as a human being. I think that's part of learning from your mistakes. And I think that's part of actually also leaning into the idea that mistakes are okay, that they don't make us poor parents or poor children or poor partners or any other, station in life that we have. I don't think it makes us bad. I don't think it makes us, failures. And I don't think that it'll ever go away. I do believe that I will constantly be making mistakes, and I will be constantly making mistakes in all my relationships. I'll say and do the wrong thing. My best friend will tell you, like, I've said and done the wrong thing with her. I've said and done the wrong thing with my parents, with my sister, with my own kids, because I'm human and human nature is to mess up. So if you're out there feeling judged, like, oh, these parenting experts, even me, like if you read my post and you think, oh, well, she thinks she knows everything or she's got it all figured out and I don't, and I'm not as good of a parent. And, I'm failing because I don't do all these things that Michelle suggests. Well, honestly, I don't always do all the things that Michelle suggests. I can't always grasp onto the ideas that, that I know clearly are the right thing. I know clearly they're the things that I want to do. But in moments, I'm at a complete loss. I become overwhelmed and unable to grasp the things that I know that I should do. So please don't judge yourself, and please don't think that you're failing. And please also don't think that all these parenting people out here don't make mistakes and aren't constantly growing, because hopefully they are. I would hope everyone's still making mistakes, because that means we still have things to learn. I have lots to learn. And as I go through each stage of parenting, I learn more and more. And I'm entering this new stage. I'll talk about it a lot recently, but my oldest is leaving for college, and we are adjusting. It's become a very obvious that there's going to be a huge adjustment, and that there is going to be a lot of feelings. There are going to be a lot of feelings. There's going to be a lot of turmoil, and I'm very nervous to see exactly how this is all going to pan out. I worry about so many things. I worry our connection will falter. I'll worry that she won't be able to manage by herself. And I'm sure she will. Maybe that's my own thought, that I'm so important that she needs me, right? But I do worry about that. I worry about her transition too. It's hard. It's a hard transition.
We're hitting pause for a moment to thank our sponsors. These brands make sure you can listen to this podcast for free. I'm excited to tell you all about FeatherSnap Scout Smart Bird Feeder, a great example of how technology can connect people with nature in really cool ways. I don't know if you know, but I'm from Oregon, and in our house, there are tons of birds. So this Wi-Fi enabled smart feeder combines state-of-the-art camera and app tech with an age-old pursuit, birdwatching. The feeder includes a high-end camera that captures crisp 4-megapixel photos and 1080p video of your feathered visitors. Then use the FeatherSnap app expert-trained AI identification model to nail down the species and categorize the birds you see. I cannot wait to get the bald eagle on this camera. Tech that truly helps you tune into the world around you. Check them out today at feathersnapcam.com. That's feathersnapcam.com. This episode is sponsored by ByHeart. ByHeart is on a mission to make the best infant formula in the world. They use a patented protein blend that gets closest to breast milk. It includes Alpha-Lac, the most abundant protein found in breast milk, and lactoferrin, the number one protein found in colostrum. ByHeart's easy-to-digest formula and patented protein blend includes prebiotics and an 80-20 whey-to-casein ratio, just like in early breast milk, which is tailor-made for a newborn's digestive system. ByHeart is made with certified, clean ingredients, plus it has no soy, corn syrup, GMOs, or palm oil. Curious about ByHeart? Redeem your welcome offer at byheart.com/podcast with code PEACE. It's available for a limited time, so don't miss out. That's byheart.com/podcast with code PEACE, because every baby deserves the best start. Weeknight dinners always get me down. Trying to figure out a nutritious and delicious meal for my girls is such a chore. But with Knorr sides and bouillon, you can create amazing dinners with little to no effort. It's not a secret that we all love combo meals from our favorite fast food restaurants. They're delicious and affordable. What if there was a way to make mouth-watering and actually nutritious combo meals in your own kitchen? Introducing Knorr Taste Combos, a menu of delicious, affordable, and well-balanced meals that you can prepare at home in 30 minutes or less. Knorr is the not-so-secret ingredient from its bouillon to its rice and pasta sides that brings major flavor to delicious home-cooked meals. My personal favorites are the cheddar broccoli bowls and the chicken tacos. Knorr makes making dinner easy and delicious. Check out Knorr to bring more peace to your meal prep at Knorr.com. Okay, let's get back to the show.
For me as a teenager, when I was 18, I couldn't wait to leave the house. I couldn't wait to go. And for her, I think she's more trepidatious. She's more, nervous about it. She's worried, right? She's worried about that change. And she does have moments where she's like, I just want to stay home. I don't want to do it. I'm scared. I don't want to do it. I don't think I had that because I wanted out so badly. But the reason I'm talking about this is because I'm learning about this stage. I'm learning about how we create a relationship when we don't live with somebody and we don't live with them, and they're actually on their own. And so I know I'm going to make mistakes. I know I'm going to do the wrong thing. I know I'm definitely not going to do it all perfectly. And I don't do any of it perfectly, but I know what I want to do. And I actually, it's interesting because I can help other people so easily because I can, when they're talking and when we're engaging in, discussions about parenting, I can see the little cracks and I can, help them fill them in. And I can see their blind spots very easily just because I've listened to so many people and talked about parenting so much. Now, I can also see my blind spots and see where I need to work. But actually implementing it, like everyone will tell you, is very difficult. And I still have a coach. I still get help because I need it, because we all do, because this is an ever evolving work and craft. And what's more important than your children? Really? What's more important than the relationships you share with your children? What's more important than parenting? I don't think many things, maybe some, but I wouldn't say too many things trump parenting and trump the relationships that you have with your children. That's also what makes our mistakes, which makes us make mistakes, I believe, is that the stakes are so high that we're worried about, you know, we're worried about a million things. Are we creating good people? Are they happy? Are they well adjusted? Do they understand their emotions? Are they going to stand up for themselves? Are they going to have successful lives? Like there's a lot of pressure on parents. And I think that's where some of our mistakes come is because we pressure ourselves so much. And that pressure creates this, fight, or freeze maybe, or a place where we're not fully thinking because we feel the pressure. And instead of grounding down and being able to be calm and self-regulate and all the things that we know we should do, right? We can't do those things because we're worried and we're stressed. And so mistakes are going to happen. And, I made a mistake recently. Esme and I went on vacation and I lost it and I said the wrong thing and I did the wrong thing. And I yelled. I even told her I didn't want to sit with her on the airplane because she was annoying. Like I really lost it. And there were a lot of pressures, right? And I think when we go on vacation, especially like this was a very monumental vacation. It was a very big deal for us and our family. Like we don't go, abroad a lot. It isn't something that, we can afford to do or that we do all the time. And so we really, we saved for this vacation. I saved all my miles and, we tried to save our money and she contributed and like it was a big deal. And so I had these huge expectations, right? We're spending this time and money and it means something to us and it's her senior trip and it's very important. And so you have these expectations about how this is going to play out. And I think we have these expectations about what parenting and childbearing looks like, right? We have these high expectations. And when we go into something like I did with these high expectations of myself and my child and this experience, and then it doesn't go as we want it to go, we get disappointed. And then I know for myself, when I got disappointed, then I lash out and I'm upset, and I'm upset with myself, and I'm upset with her because it isn't unfolding the way I want it to unfold. And that's where my mistakes come in. And I think if I had better expectations, if I said to myself, okay, it's going to be really hard, those travel days, and I didn't really realize those travel days for her were really, really hard. Those long hours and long trips, and the first night in a hotel that she doesn't know, in a country she doesn't know. Like she had a hard time adjusting, and she's a kind of kid who her environment really affects her, and she's sensitive, and she's also strong. So when that sensitivity triggers for her, she outwardly expresses it, as opposed to Pia, who won't, who will go withdrawal. So I think those expectations sometimes set us up for failure because we believe that we have this idea that things are going to go a certain way. But, we maybe should adjust our expectations. I was talking to a client about expectations recently, and she also has expectations about her relationships with her child. And I think those expectations, when we alter them, when we say, okay, we're going to have minimal expectations, we're going to have limited expectations, and we're going to know they're going to be really hard moments, it makes those hard moments easier to digest and overcome and get through. I think part of, and I'll speak for myself from my own experience on this trip, is that I was, determined to make core memories. And I was determined that it was going to be this beautiful experience. And it most definitely was. I mean, Esme said, she and her friend said at the end of this trip that I said, okay, scale of 1 to 10, where do you guys put this trip? And they both said an 11. And so I know we had an incredible time, but I needed to be more realistic in my expectations. And I think that can help all of us. Now, will you always be able to manage your expectations? And when you don't, will you lose it? You probably will. And that's okay. That's human, and that's human nature. And we also want to show our kids we aren't perfect. We are going to yell once in a while. We are going to lose it. We are going to say, I don't want to sit next to you on the plane because you're annoying. And we actually, our last leg of the trip, we got separated. Our seats got separated, and then we we were both so sad that we couldn't be sitting next to each other. Which is interesting because on one of the legs, I was just like, I don't want to sit next to you. You're really irritating me. And it's a funny how that comes full circle too, right? Where your irritation can completely change within just a few hours. But she and I have had a tumultuous ride. And I think, that my relationship with her is much harder than my relationship is with Pia. But I think Pia, doesn't present, but she's starting to more and more, which is interesting too. That's been an adjustment. But needless to say, I think, having lower expectations can help us with our mistakes. Leaning into our mistakes and saying, you know what, that's okay. It's okay. I made a mistake and I'm going to continue to make mistakes, but I'm going to learn from them. And I might have to make the same mistake a few times before I actually learn my lesson. And I know kids are the same way. And many people will say, well, my kid didn't learn their lesson. They made the mistake, but they didn't alter themselves. Well, I know for me, it takes a minute. I have made the same mistake plenty of times in many areas of my life. And sometimes I have to do that. And sometimes that has to be my reality, is making that same mistake over and over again before I really get it. So lean into them. Know their places to learn. Know that you're constantly growing if you're making mistakes and then analyzing those mistakes and then thinking about ways in which you can improve. And I make them. I know every person out there does. And if anyone tells you that they don't, or portrays themselves as perfect, or never talks about their mistakes, that's, we should heed that warning, because that becomes this superiority complex, or that becomes this place where I know everything. And I do know a lot about parenting. I'm not going to, say that I don't. I really do. But most of it I've learned through my own experience, and then also the experiences with thousands of people that I've interacted with. Every day I get to interact with so many people and experience so many different aspects of parenting that, it's given me a wealth of knowledge. But also, again, that wealth of knowledge doesn't make me immune to mistakes. It really doesn't. In fact, I don't know. In some ways, maybe I make more mistakes because I'm more analytical about the things that are happening in our world. I don't know, but I do make a lot. So I just wanted to come out there and say that. And again, if you want to see this beautiful background, it is gorgeous. Or Southern Oregon is gorgeous. And it's a little backlit, but it is really pretty. Please check out my YouTube so that you can see these podcasts happening live and you can kind of see me talking. Sometimes it brings it more to light for some people. And there's a lot of guests that I've had on, and I do put some shorts on there. So lots of good things happening in the YouTube channel. So go check it out. Thanks for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I think I'm going to do a few more from Oregon today. So you can check out all those. And maybe I'll change my background to a little different because we've got a lot of windows here. All right. Thanks for joining me. Don't be afraid of your mistakes. And please don't think anybody out there is perfect. All right. I'll see you next time.